Hello everybody, and welcome to part 2 of our video series on chapter 3 of Sociology. Last time I previewed the chapter and talked about the various different sections and how that applies, and we began to talk about the concept of values in America and what values are and why they are important for anybody to study, not just as individuals but as a society. So we're going to get into more of that today in part 2. One of the slides I showed you last time was a quick definition of values, and we've wrapped up by saying that values are the foundation for your life. So I want to give you a couple of visuals and examples of that as to why values are important. If we look at a house, of course, pretty much anybody will know that when they build a house or any type of large building, they do not just build the house or the building right on top of the ground. What they will always do first is dig a big hole in the ground, pour some concrete, put some cinder blocks down, and that serves as the building's foundation. So in essence, the analogy of a house being built, the foundation of the house can be applied to values. That's how we can look at values as a better way of understanding the importance of values, not just as a society, but as individuals as well. Now the quote down below there says, "Those who stand for nothing fall for anything," by Alexander Hamilton. And that is kind of applies to values, that values give us a chance to stand for something, to believe in something. Now here's the importance of that. So let's start with the analogy of a house. If a house is built right on top of the ground, if there is a strong wind or any type of storm that comes along, there's a very good chance that that house is going to be blown down. So every time a storm comes, that house is going to be in trouble. It's going to be very weak structurally, and chances are good that the people in the home are going to have to do constant repair because their house is going to be constantly blown around because the house has nothing to grab onto. However, if the house has a strong foundation and the house is bolted very strongly to the foundation, that house is going to withstand many storms. So that's the analogy of a house. So let's take a look at it when applied to values. If we look at the foundation of a society or the foundation of our lives as individuals as being an example of values, we all face adversity. Our society faces challenges. 9/11 would be an example. On 9/11, our house was knocked down, so to speak. However, because America had a very strong foundation deeply rooted in our values, we were able to rebuild our house much quicker than it would have taken other countries. If 9/11 were to have occurred in other countries, many countries still today, over 10 years later, would still be reeling from those effects, either economically and so forth. But because we have a very strong set of values, we had something to hold on to and very easily rebuild. So as a society, the stronger set of values that we have, the more likely a society can withstand the inevitable adversities that will come through and challenge a society. Now as individuals, it works the same way. People who have a strong foundation, a strong set of values, can withstand much more adversity than the average person. We are all going to face challenges in life. With students' lives, they might have failed a test, they might have failed a course, they may have been dumped by a boyfriend or girlfriend, they may have lost a big game. Those setbacks are always going to occur in life. That's just the way life works. But the people who have something to hold on to, grab onto during tough times, can withstand that storm, so to speak, and rebuild their lives. And that comes from having a strong sense of what you believe in, what you stand for, and that comes from having a core set of values. Those people that do not have a strong set of values are very much like a house that has no foundation. Every little piece of adversity that comes their way, every small storm, so to speak, has the chance to knock down that house. So instead of being able to withstand the daily stress, the daily adversity, some people get blown around by any type of wind, and they find it very difficult to cope with some of even the more smaller pieces of adversity. Now, kids kind of have terms for these kind of people. It could be the term drama queen, or a guy who just flies off the handle and has a very poor temper. There's many different examples of that, but a lot of people would think that the reason why these people are so affected by even little things of adversity is because they do not have a strong set of values, or at least they have not identified them. So as a society, it becomes very important to not only identify what those values are, but be able to use them during times of difficulty. And the same thing goes with individuals. Doing activities that allow students to identify what they believe in, what they stand for, what are their core values, so that when difficult times or difficult decisions arise, they have something to hold on to and something to fall back on during times of toughness. So there's your scoop in terms of values, in terms of the importance of them to us as a society and as individuals. And the next video we'll get into more of the textbook in terms of those values, how they apply to our society, and so on. So that'll wrap up part 2. So keep moving on and take a look at part 3.